Trying to do this question number 1 about travel time related to euros. Notice travel time on the x-axis, because you would think, right, that the cost in euros is dependent on the travel time. All right, so we think about independent dependent variables. I've typed all this information in my calculator in a spreadsheet. Now doc, insert a data and statistics, x on the x and y on the y. And it looks like there's some kind of positive linear-ish correlation here. So let's look at the questions. Write down the equation of the regression line of y on x. So just straight away, menu, analyze, regression, and we've got all these built-in functions that we can try and model, but we're just going to use the linear because it asks us for that. And so that is the equation. It's got lots of digits. You'd probably write this down to 3 sig fig, which I think would make sense. And then the next part is predict the price of a train journey of 2 hours. So basically, remember the x values are in minutes, so 2 hours is 120. So actually, I could just do this, menu, analyze, I could, I don't know if I can plot a vertical line on this menu.
You can press Ctrl T and then find the price.
So I can kind of do a movable line, right, can't I? Which is nice, and then just sort of move it on. But I mean, that's not, it's not super accurate, but it gives you the sense of how we might use a graph. But of course, we're just going to feed 120 in place of the x, aren't we? So negative 25. Oh, this is the line we need, the model.
How can you move a line? How did you move a line?
Oh, I inserted a movable line and then just grabbed it and moved it, basically. Probably harder on your handheld to really grab it. A bit easier on my laptop.
Oh, I can twist it.
Okay, so here we go. And then I am going to do this on a slightly different menu as well, because we're going to take these data points and put them into our actual graph drawing page rather than our data page. But let's finish this off here. Comment on whether the regression equation is more reliable for 10-minute journeys or 100-minute journeys. So if you think about it, 10-minute journeys, do we have any information?
It's going to be negative.
Well, it's not the fact that it's going to be negative, because look at the scale on the y-axis. This is 24 here, right? So this isn't 0 here. But 10 minutes, we have no information. So if you actually try and use the line to predict beyond, that's called extrapolation. If you use the model to predict within, it's called interpolation. So extra, outside, extrapolation to predict outside the data set. It's always slightly dodgy, isn't it? Because the only data we've got is from, what, about 75 minutes up to 150 minutes. So 100 minutes using this model would definitely be more reliable than using a 10 minutes. One final thing we can do on here, which isn't part of the question, is menu, analyze the residuals. And if we show the residual plot, we can also see over what particular x values might the line be even more reliable. Can you see for lower values, the residuals aren't too far away, but then when you get to the higher values of x, they seem to bounce up and down, don't they? So that's kind of also a measure of reliability, looking at the residuals. So now let's look at this a slightly different way. So back to 2.1, we didn't actually need to plot the graph to find the equation, because we can do it all from this page. Menu, statistics, stat calc, and there it is, linear regression. The x list is x, the y list is y, and notice it's saving the regression equation to F1. This is pretty important. Press OK, and we're done. Look, 0.1608 is the gradient. That's exactly what we got on this page. And the y-intercept is 9.84. Again, 9.84. But the power of this page, let me make the screen a bit bigger, is that it gives you a bit more information about how well that model works. Down here is R. R is 0.768. So on our scale, 0.768 is maybe, good to strong. And again, the words can be a bit arbitrary. It depends on, do we say 0.75 and bigger is strong? Between 0.5 and 0.75 is good. They're quite subjective words. We just report the value R is 0.768. Okay. Finally, let's go doc, insert a graph. Notice it's already defaulting to F2 because what's in F1?
Oh, F1 we have the.
It doesn't appear on here, right? But if we go to change the axes, I'll go through here, window zoom, window settings. I believe that the X was about 70 up to about, let's go to 200. And the costs were about 20 euros, right, I think? Up to, let's have a little look. Costing was about up to 40, I can see there. Let's go to 50.
But there is no graph. How did you put a graph on it?
So,
Oh, F1 equal X1, right? So we have to choose.
so when we go, let me just go back again on here, when we did the, I'll go again from this page, when we did menu, statistics, stat calc, linear regression, we go through that, but look, it's going to save the equation automatically to the next available function space. So it's automatically going to save it to somewhere, right?
I mean,
So-
14,000 still can't save a line on something wrong.
So I just cancel that then. But you have to plot it. Now go back. Look up the big board. So on the big board here, watch this. F3 of x equals, you have to type in F1 bracket x. So it doesn't appear automatically because you've not typed it in. But when you do that, it appears, which is beautiful. I'd like to see the points as well plotted as a scatter graph on here. We can do that as well. Menu. I think it's graph entry and scatter plot. And look, we'll have the x plotted on the x-axis and the y plotted on the y, and beautiful. Now the reason we might switch from this graph, which is beautiful and easy, to this graph, there's a lot more features on this graph we can use, all right? So we can now do the magic Control T to get the table of values, all right? And now we've got the model, the prices, the cost of the journey on the right column, and the distance at the time in minutes on the x-axis here, okay? It's just useful, right? If you want to be not going up in 1 minute intervals, with the table highlighted, menu, table, edit table settings. And we can start at 0, we can go up in 10-minute intervals, which is nice. Okay, and then the final question was about predicting a 2-hour journey. So we just scroll up here to 120 minutes, and we got the answer right there. Questions? Exactly, which is why I videoed it.
Okay.
Yeah, and now I will save